In 2020, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi reinforced the Indian Air Force's strike capacity with Rafales from France. Will he seal a deal for the highly prized F-16 warplanes during his state visit to Washington in the third week of June? Will India get not only the latest in combat aircraft, but also the technology for domestic production as he strengthens India's defense capability against the twin threats of China and Pakistan? I'm asking this because of what happened over the weekend. It seems that the stage is being set for a major upgrade in India's strategic relations with the United States of America. A powerful congressional committee in the US recommended that India be included in NATO Plus. First things first, what is NATO Plus? Well, it's a security arrangement. And who is a part of it? NATO Plus 5 being Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Israel and South Korea. This grouping is aimed at boosting global defense cooperation, and this will be a major change in India's long-standing policy in defense procurement. For India has politely resisted all previous efforts to include it in the NATO embrace, even if this is an extended NATO embrace. And here's what joining NATO Plus will mean, really. Number one, seamless intelligence sharing. Number two, access to the latest military technology without time lag. Americans like to call F-16 the world's most active fighter jet. These are single-engine, multi-role fighter jets. They can be used in air-to-air combats, even in air-to-ground strikes. Each jet can cost up to $63 million, depending on the model. America has used the F-16 in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kosovo. Thousands of F-16s have been exported as well. And here are some of the countries that have these jets: Turkey, Israel, Egypt, South Korea, Greece, Belgium, Poland, Denmark, the Netherlands. And America has also exported the F-16s to Taiwan. And as I speak, F-16s are in the news courtesy Ukraine's nagging demand for them. We've been telling you about this. Ukraine believes these jets can be a game changer. Now the question is, if the F-16s are really that capable, why hasn't India bought them yet? I'm guessing a lot of you have the same question. India has not bought these jets because of the baggage that they come with, simply put. You see, American laws governing sensitive technology limit the capability of the F-16. I don't know if you know this, but the US does not share full control of the fighter jets it exports. For example, the US can remotely turn off or disable certain systems. So there are riders that American defense technologies come with. Now, could India joining the NATO Plus, if that happens, change this? And does India need American technology in this case, the F-16? The Indian Air Force requires 42 squadrons of fighter jets. Currently, there are 31. In the year 2019, the Indian Air Force said it would be spending up to $15 billion to buy 114 fighter jets. In the year 2020, the then Chief of the Defense Staff, late General Bipin Rawat, said the Air Force would be ordering indigenous jets instead of spending the money on foreign jets. But Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadauria, who was then the head of Indian Air Force, said that there was still place for foreign fighter jets, that India wants both indigenous and foreign jets. And cut to Aero India 2023, India's grand aero show. You had a US Air Force F-16 flying past on day 2. Many in the Indian media saw it as America trying to get India to look towards its defense industry while making the next big purchase. You see, in the early 2000s, India had floated a $10 billion plus contract for 126 multi-role combat aircraft. America had hoped to land that contract. Instead, India went with France's Dassault. It's another story that the contract was later withdrawn and New Delhi instead decided to purchase 36 Rafales under a government-to-government contract. The first batch of the Rafales entered the Indian skies in July 2020, and over the next 2 years, all the remaining jets were delivered. But India needs more fighters, especially given the security situation in the neighborhood, which brings us back to the question, could India finally be buying the F-16s from America? Well, there is already a talk of creating a coordinated response against China. You know, if Beijing attacks Taiwan, India, of course, will not join the combat militarily, perhaps economically, and come to think of it, a lot of the recent developments are pointing towards the possibility of such a future. Let me point out a headline. 14 countries, including India, the US, Japan, Australia, Indonesia, and Malaysia, have announced, quote-unquote, substantial conclusion of negotiations on supply chain agreement under IPEF, or the Indo-Pacific Economic Partnership. Now, this bloc, remember, aims to reduce dependence on China. Now, while all of this is all nice and fair, here is the big question that the possibility of India joining NATO Plus comes with. What really happens to India's strategic autonomy? This question is nagging some of the best minds in our defense establishment, like General V.P. Malik, hero of the Kargil War, who told WION that the nuclear issue could come up, and there is no guarantee on how much autonomy India could have over its nuclear weapons or the command of its own military, given that a lot of NATO countries are not happy with what he called the dominance of the United States. But other experts have equally strongly said that joining NATO Plus will not compromise India's strategic autonomy because India will not be under any military compulsion to join any NATO military action. And coming back to the F-16s, we can be sure of one thing. The threat from China needs to be met by the best equipment in the world. And in the air, F-16s are the gold standard. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.